Android, written by Diane Morgan and starring her as well, co-written by Sarah Kendall. They came together and made 6 episodes, half an hour each, for BBC. The premise: Sue has had a fall and her son is moving out, so her son decides to buy her a robot carer that exists in this world, a robot carer called Linda. Weirdly not Anne. I imagined that the droid would be called Anne, and that's where the android joke comes in, but I just feel like that's never mentioned in the show. It's called Android, even though none of the characters are called Anne. Makes sense. I'm a big fan of the way they do conspiracies in this. How like they're like, oh, the robots are spying on us and they're watching us and they're taking information about us, because that is exactly what would happen in real life. If these droids did exist in real life and they came and they helped our mums and granddads and whatever, there would definitely be people on the internet making conspiracies about them. I mean, there even is now with phones. I mean, I'm part of the believers that phones do listen to you. But, like, there are people who are like, oh, don't get a new alarm clock from da-da-da, because they'll listen to you and steal your brainwave thoughts and stuff. What are you talking about? But it definitely would happen in real life. There'll be people who doubt these robots and wouldn't want you to have one. Now, I love Diane Morgan in pretty much everything she's been in. I'm not a fan of Afterlife, but her performance in Afterlife was very good. Everything else she's done, Kunk and Mandy, is all very, very good. But this just was not it. Her acting, I think I saw an interview with her this morning, because this came out today. I saw an interview with her and she was talking about how she didn't realise until like shooting came around that like she actually has to act this robot. And she sort of, I think she struggled with it a lot because the line deliveries a lot of the time weren't great. I got softened to it as the show went on because I don't know, I suppose I got desensitized to it. But when I first started watching, I was thinking, oh my God, what am I watching here? It's very poor attempts to do a robotic style voice. They should have just messed with her vocals a little bit, maybe made her actual audio waves and editing a bit more robotic rather than just have her be like, and Sue, let's go to the park, because that's what it sounds like. And it's a bit rubbish. And actually the character of Linda, which is Diane Morgan's character, the robot, she really grinded on me in the first episode. Like, I really did not, I was like, I might not be able to review this whole series. I might just have to review the pilot because I might have to turn it off. But the redeeming factor of that, the end of the first episode was actually really good. And it really was, if the ending wasn't as good as it was, I probably would have stopped there. It's where Linda is trying to she's trying to learn the human emotion. She's looking at old pictures of Sue and her now dead husband and stuff like that. Yazoo's playing, it's great. And the whole of episode 1, Linda just wants someone to plant her rose bush, her rose plant. And at the final scene, when Linda's about to be sent back off to the factory, her hands are covered in dirt and we see that she's planted the rose bush. And that's when I'm like, okay, it's clear that Linda is no ordinary robot. She's actually trying to understand human emotion. So this could be interesting. And I'm glad I did keep watching because that is very true. Linda does seem to gain more of an emotion as we see her go through the series, which is very, very good. Makes her unique and not how I thought the series would go. Renee is one of the most annoying people I've ever seen in my entire life. That's Michael is Sue's son and Renee is his wife, who had an affair and did all this and all that. She's one of the most annoying people I've ever seen in fiction ever, and I just do not buy that Mike would stay with her. And I understand in real life there are people who have like really rocky relationships but end up staying together anyway. But here it's played off as not serious enough, and I get it's a sitcom, but my argument to that is if it's a sitcom, don't do it. Like, I feel like it's such an unbelievable relationship for them to stay in, and they don't, if they're trying to go for this is real and this does happen in real life, there's too many jokes, there's too many times that Mike just sort of puts up with her. And it's not like he goes behind her back and flexes about how amazing she is and how she does all this or how beautiful she is. We literally just see him putting up with her for the sake of putting up with her for the whole series. And that really did grind on me a bit because there was so much opportunity to have them have these big fallouts and stuff like that. But it just sort of felt like Mike would try and raise a point and Renee would just shut him down and then he'd just like huff and be like, yeah, I suppose you're right. And that's not interesting. That's not entertaining to watch. A lot of the jokes are really predictable. I wrote some down, like the roller coaster accident. That was set up in a really obvious way. We have Michael playing a song that already exists at the end of episode 3 at the open mic night. I could go on. I won't. But there's so many, like pretty much every setup for a payoff later on was predictable, and that really did tamper with my enjoyments because it just felt like I'm just waiting for what I already know to happen. The only thing I didn't really see coming was the actual ending of the whole show, and that I don't really like the ending. I think it was so abrupt and just out of nowhere. Literally, the whole episode is just filler until the final, literally 2 minutes of the episode, and I really didn't vibe with that at all. I think his name's Jeffrey, but the guy who falls in love with the robot is just a bit cringe. It comes across a bit boomery, like they're thinking, "Ooh, I guarantee they were sat in like their office writing this, going, ooh, and what if one of the guys falls in love with one of the robots?" And it just feels a bit. It's just a bit like they're trying to go for something, because this obviously isn't real, and it's something that very well could happen in the future. It just felt lazy to have someone just fall in love with one of the robots, and he seemed a bit creepy. And then we saw his robot girlfriend later on, and she was like really young, and he tried to like dumb down her IQ. It just, the whole thing gave me a bit of weird vibes. I wasn't really a fan of that subplot at all. My favourite character of the whole show was Sue's friend who works in the charity shop. I don't remember her name. It's not Phyllis, it's the other one. But she was great. She's the star of the show for me. She was brilliant. All of her line deliveries were perfect. I'm a big fan of the way that and she was just really funny. Like, she was naturally funny. The way she'd look at people, or the way she'd just make a Saki like roll her eyes or something. She was really, really good. So she was great in the show. That's one of the very few things I can come out of this show going, I'm glad I watched it for that reason. Some quick fire things that I like. I like Sue and her friend, like I just said. I think the concept is good. It is nice to have a look into like an alternate reality, or potentially the future, where the robots look after the elderly instead of like other human beings. So that's quite nice. And like I said, I did soften to Linda as the show went on. I watched the show in about 4 hours. It takes 3 hours to watch it, but I had some breaks here and there because I did start to get annoyed at the beginning. Like, I just really couldn't get into it. But I did soften to Linda as it went on. And there were some moments that were quite funny with her involved. The Cotton Eye Joe stuff was very overplayed, but she was good. Never a laugh out loud. Like, I was never properly belly laughing. I did have one laugh out loud moment with Sue's friend who works at the charity shop, like I mentioned. But yeah, Linda being the main comic relief really it's not my type of humour personally. But like I say, it's not boring. It's not a boring series, so give it a go. It might be more up your street than it is up mine. But the humour isn't something that would make me laugh out loud. But I can appreciate it wasn't bad. You do feel bad for Sue when Linda's being taken away and she's watching in the window, because she was all on her own. At the start of this, we've only ever really seen Sue on her own, because it's obvious that she's had a life living with Michael, but we just sort of jump in when he's already leaving. And we see her on her own. We then see her get a friend. We see her grow with this friend. And then to have the friend completely stripped from her in the final episode was very sad. We did feel for her. However, like I've mentioned already, the ending is so abrupt. 2 minutes before the credits roll, she's like, I need to find Linda. Gets in her car, drives, and then runs over Linda. And then, the most obscure, weird choice to end on. Michael, who was going out with Renee, now is no longer going out with Renee because he found out that the jiu-jitsu trainer that she cheated on him with, she was still cheating on him with, and the baby wasn't his. So he decides to then go and get with the droid that Linda's with, that was with Jeffrey or whatever his name was. It's such a weird, and it's not like it's heavily implied. It's not actually shown, but they share a look. He's definitely wanting to go on dates and stuff. He's a bit of a knob as well. Like 5 minutes before the ending, he's being a massive knob to his mum. It's just a strange way to end a show. I assume they're banking on a season 2. Otherwise, I don't see why they'd end the show like this. It's really peculiar. It's strange. It's one of the weirdest shows I've ever seen. And I can't say I'm going to rewatch it anytime soon. And I'm not crazy about it. I'm not going to go rave about it to my friends, but it's okay. Overall, the show is a bit goofy. It's not boring, but it's not great in my opinion. The humour doesn't land, but it may do for you. So definitely give it a go for yourself if you haven't seen it, even though I've pretty much just spoiled all of it for you. The pacing's decent, but it does get long on a binge. Like, I break it up into segments. Like, I sat and watched the whole thing through, and I feel a bit drained, but it's decent. I'm gonna rate Android a 2.5 out of 5. I would maybe give it a 2 out of 5. I think maybe just because I'm coming off of it, I'm thinking of it more highly. Ask me again in a week, I'll probably say 2. So yeah, give Android a watch. It's free on BBC iPlayer right now. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you've seen it in the comments. What do you think about it? If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. It's absolutely fine. The button's there, so use it. Badink. And yeah, subscribe if you're new. I post every couple of days here talking about film and TV. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Thank you for watching. I've been Sam. I'll see you later, and ta-ra.